Okay, fans, just as we promised, we have got the Charlie Glotzbach, who drove this beautiful number 669 Dodge Charger owned by Cotton Owens. We've got him live on the phone, and we're going to get Charlie's, we're going to ask him a lot of neat, cool questions here that I bet some of you would love to have asked him as well. Charlie Glotzbach, we are so glad to have you.
Well, it's nice to be talking to you, Phil, especially about this number 6 Dodge.
Yep, this is listen, I've told people, I mean, we've had the pleasure of doing a lot of cool cars, Charlie, but the graphics on this car and just the shape of the Dodge Charger, I mean, it just looks like a race car should.
Well, it looks just like the car that I drove, and every detail about it. I mean, you know, the engine, you raise the hood, look at the engine, and fuel cell in the trunk. I mean, it's just like a real race car. I mean, I've never seen one that is so nice and looks so good and looks like a race car, actually, when it was built, when I started driving it.
Charlie, you are, of course, that's music to my ears, what you're saying. We've gone to, which we always do on every car. We've researched the bejeebies out of these cars and make sure they're authentic in every way. And thank you for those kind comments. Charlie, how was it like? What was it like driving this thing? I mean, this was kind of a new kind of car. Ford had dominated up until then, and now all of a sudden Dodge is on the scene, and in a big way. And you're in my gosh, an iconic car owned by Cotton Owens. How was it driving this car?
Oh, it was just a dream. The car, you know, that was a 500 Dodge, had the back window flush, and that was the main thing that they changed on them back then, and it was fast, and it handled good, and you know, we won some races with it too.
You sure did. And I was talking about the graphics, Charlie. Are there any stories about how this car turned out to be? This Charger red and the day glow orange. Any stories about that? Who determined those colors? Was it Dodge or Cotton or you?
No, it wasn't me. It was I guess Cotton. You know, he used to, when Pearson drove for him, he had white cars, and then when I started driving, they painted them red. So. But I loved the color of it. It was a different color red. It wasn't just a regular red. I don't really know what it was, but and then they had the Dago on the doors, and it showed up real good, and it looked good. Right.
Charlie, I'm going to tell the fans a little bit about you here. Very impressive record. You had 4 victories. You had 12 poles. You have 38 top 5 finishes and 50 top 10s. You were always in the front, and you didn't run every race. Is that correct?
That's correct. I ran mostly super speedways, and the first time I drove for Cotton Owens, I ran Richmond, Virginia, on a dirt track up there. Well, it was dirt, and we finished second, and. But that was my very first race with Cotton, and I did run a few short tracks with Cotton, but not all of them, and mostly super speedways is what I ran.
Right. Charlie, you're from Indiana, and back in those days, I got to bet most of the drivers were Southern boys. How did you get involved in NASCAR racing?
Well, there was a guy down here named Melvin Black. And in 1960, I went to Charlotte with him. He had a 59 Chevrolet, and we went to Charlotte. I think G.C. Spencer built the car, and I went to Charlotte and run the first race down there, and which I had never run no track like that or anything, and I think I finished, I don't know, maybe 28th way back, and but the track it fell apart. It tore up, had holes in it and everything else the first race. And that's how I actually got involved. And then also, Harry Hyde was right across the river here. I'm right 4 miles from Louisville, and he had a shop over there. And of course, I'd raced around here against Harry, and Andy Hampton, Jesse Baird drove for him, and I knowed him real well. And he told me, this was in about '67. He said, I went to Nichols Engineering with him. He went up there to pick up a '67 Dodge Charger Bobby Isaac was driving, and it was a K&K car. And he told me when we was coming back, he said, if you go to Daytona with us to take that '65 Dodge down there, he said, I'll talk to Nard Crosscroft and see if he won't let you drive it. And so that's what happened, and that got me rolling. And I drove for him select races that year and run good and finished good when I finished, and that got my name out there. Plus, I ran some ARCA races before that.
Right. Charlie, you acquired a very cool a nickname of Chargin Charlie. What's the story behind that? How did you get that nickname?
Well, I was started out racing here in Jeffersonville, Indiana at the Sportsdrome Speedway, and there was an announcer there named Charlie Ryle, and he gave everybody a nickname, and I lived at Edwardsville at that time, and so he named me Chargin Charlie, the Edwardsville Express. That was where I got that.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a version. We've talked to some of the other legend drivers, and they said that they called you Chargin Charlie because you always were charging to the front. You were pedal to the metal. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what I was there for, to try to win the race. That's the only way you could win it. You had to run.
Right. And Charlie, I got to say, you had some great victories, but the race that I guess stands out to me as one of your most famous, I guess, performances was the '69 Daytona 500. I want to tell that story so bad, but I'm going to let you tell it because you know exactly how it happened. But let me just tell the folks, you were leading right up until the last lap, so you take it from there because it's a great story.
Well, we was coming down the backstretch, and I seen Leroy Yarbrough coming in my mirror, and they had stopped and got new tires, and we didn't stop, and we got to number 3 corner. He caught me, and I thought, well, it's better to finish second than it is to wreck. And I knew if I tried to block him, we would have wrecked. And, back then days, you need the money. It wasn't all for winning, but you wanted to win, but you'd rather run second than win if it come down to it.
Sitting there watching the Chase final race, and Carl Edwards went down and blocked, I couldn't help but think of you because you had told me this story before and how you explained it. You needed a check more than you needed a trophy.
That's true.
And it's just funny and interesting how things have changed. The drivers today certainly rather have the title, the trophy, than the money. And you needed the money so you could keep racing.
Well, we didn't get $1 million up front and that kind of stuff back them days. These days, they got big money up front, or they're wealthy when they come into it. So, it wasn't like that back in our days. So we worked for everything we got.
Right.
And we respected each other, too, I think, a lot. Everybody respected each other.
That's an interesting word. That's a great lead-in to my next question. Charlie, I believe even today, your victory at Bristol in 1971, you set a record there for finishing that race in just over 2 hours or so, the fastest anybody's ever run Bristol. And why is that? How has that record stood today?
Well, it's like I said, I think that everybody respected each other, and we didn't have caution flags back then. You know, it was kind of like there wasn't no blocking went on or anything like that back them days. If you got up to the side of somebody, up to their door, well, they pretty much gave you the right of way then, because you was faster and you cut up there. I mean, they wouldn't just give it to you, but they wouldn't pull up in front of you and block you like they do nowadays.
Right. That was kind of an unwritten code, I guess, for the drivers?
Well, I think it was. As far as I know, that's the way it always was back them days.
And it was because of
therefore,
respect.
we didn't have the caution flags that they have nowadays, because they do that stuff.
Right. And that's interesting that you would say it was because of respect for each other. That's a great answer. Okay, Charlie, also, you raced for Cotton Owens. What was it like to have Cotton Owens as a boss?
Well, I think that I got along very well with Cotton and the whole family as far as that goes. And, you know, we won and we run good all the time. Cotton was smart. I mean, Cotton, he'd raced all his life, and he knew what it took to get the job done. And I enjoyed riding for Cotton.
Right. I got to ask you this too. I mean, you're from Indiana. Indiana's known for basketball, but you turned out to be a race car driver. What got you interested in racing at an early age?
Well, I mean, when I was probably 10 years old or younger, I was always interested in motors and cars, and I liked to pedal with them. And my first race car I built myself, which there was an old guy down in New Albany named Art Binkley. He raced in NASCAR some back in the convertible days, and I used to go down there to his shop and watch him work on his cars, and he gave me some pointers on setting the car up. It was just an old junker Plymouth, 50 Plymouth, what I started with, and I ran it there at Sportsdrome, but I just always enjoyed working on cars and doing things to them, and I think it helped me in my career, because I know a little bit about a car and know what to do to change something, I think.
Right. Charlie, listen, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. It's a special day for us to be launching this 1969 Dodge Charger. It's a beautiful car, and we greatly appreciate your stories. And folks, we're going to get Charlie down to Charlotte sometime in the near future. Give him a chance to tell you some more stories, because he's got a bunch of them. Charlie Glotzbach, great talking to you. Thanks so much.
The same here. Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.